I didn't think I was going to be talking about this again, guys, but we're talking about my hatred for Fashion Dreamer once again. I did not like Fashion Dreamer for the Nintendo Switch. And if you didn't either, I think I finally found a game for the both of us. Let's get into it. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Nina Gabriella, and today we got an interesting topic. Now, I've already made a deep dive talking about the Fashion Dreamer series, talking about the deep dive of Style Savvy, all that and more. So if you want to see that video, click somewhere over here. But today, I got something interesting for you! Now, I bet you're wondering, are we talking about the Infinity Nikki series? Because that game is set to release, I believe, early December of 2024. We are in November as I'm recording this video, but I'm actually not talking about them. I'm actually talking about a game that just released for the US that is for the Nintendo Switch. I'm telling you, when I saw this game, I actually got to thank one of my subscribers put the comment down here below somewhere who told me about this game, because I think I found the equivalent of what I thought Fashion Dreamer was going to be. Today, we are talking about, drumroll please, Model Debut 3. Now, I bet you're wondering, have you ever heard of this game before? And if you say no, that's okay, because I didn't either. This game originally released in Japan, and while all of us were over here raving about the Style Savvy series and Fashion Dreamer, they were out there living it with the Model Debut era of games. So we're going to dive right into about what this game is about, comparing it to Style Savvy, and last but not least, comparing it to Fashion Dreamer, to decide if maybe this might be a better game for you. We're going to get all into it, boys and girls, today! Let's get into it. Now, the first Model Debut game actually came out exclusively in Japan for the Nintendo DS. Now, it's crazy knowing that this game has been out for as long as it has been, but I just never heard of it. But up until recently, Model Debut 3 just released on the American version of the Nintendo eShop for the Nintendo Switch. So when I saw this comment, I'm telling you, I rushed to the store because this actually just released about 2 weeks ago. So I spent the last 2 weeks playing this game, and let me just say I have so much to talk about it. All my gripes with it, my comparison to Style Savvy, my comparison to Fashion Dreamer. Y'all aren't ready for this. Now, once Nikki comes out, trust me, I'm going to be playing that for probably my entire life. But for now, we're going to talk about the Model Debut games, and let's compare them to some things like Style Savvy. Now, let me just say, thank you guys so much for helping me reach my yearly goal of making it to 5K. Still, it is a dream come true. And if you like this video, I'd really love it if you press that like button and subscribe button so you guys can see some more of my future videos. And if you love to support me more, I have a little Etsy store, and I just finished the November stickers, so those should be coming out very soon. I'll also be releasing a membership video later this week as well, so if you want to be my cool members and see some of my background and exclusive content, I'm going to be updating that this week. By the time this video is out, hopefully it'll already be updated, but we'll see. Now, my first thing I gotta say about this is it's not your typical fashion game. It's slightly different because you're not running your boutique like you used to. You're actually a model, which honestly I kind of love more. Like, obviously as a kid, I always loved the idea of running my salon, but I think playing this new model game as an adult appeals to me just slightly a bit more, just because I don't know, I can see myself in more of a position of being able to better attain a status as a model as opposed to running a boutique. So I think for the older girlies, this is a revamp that we've been looking for, and I love it. Why didn't Fashion Dreamer have that? Well, I guess they did to an extent, but why did they do it so bad? Why? Whoops. So right off the bat, what is Model Debut? Well, before I get into that, let's actually talk about some of the previous games from the For You company who created the games. Now, if you ever played Girls Fashion Shoot, which is another popular game that came out for the 3DS back in, I want to say 2010 or 2012-ish, I want to say, the company For You and Alchemist, I want to say, are known for making these really awesome and cute and fun fashion-like games. They have tons about models and, you know, being a star and things of that nature. So if you ever played like one of these these games, it's probably for you. But if you've ever played Style Savvy, this game has a very similar aesthetic to it. They're fashion-like games where you are picking out different outfits, you're taking photos, all this and that. So what we're focusing on today is talking about the model debut series. This actually came out for the Nintendo Switch, where the first model debut game was created. The first model debut game was created in 2019 and actually had very high ratings. From what I've seen online, a lot of people are noting this model debut game as being kind of like a piece of where Style Savvy left off of, since we hadn't seen anything from Style Savvy after their 3DS/DS renditions of games. A lot of people were looking for something similar for the Nintendo Switch. So when this came out for the people in Japan, a lot of people grasped onto this game. Unfortunately, it didn't get an American release. In the first model debut game, you are a model and you are getting ready to work for a magazine company, Nicola. Then in 2021, they recreated this game and made Model Debut 2. From what I've seen online, it's basically the same game. It's just they updated the graphics so it looks a lot better. There's a couple like more fashion shows and things like that, but overall about the same game. From what I can tell, it looks very similar to Style Savvy Fashion Forward, or even Trendsetters a little bit, with those nice big beautiful eyes and things like that. If you're not in America, I'm referring to Style Boutique 3, or in Japan it's I think called Girls Mode, but you get the gist. In these two games you worked as a model and you created these beautiful fashion trends and so on and so forth. Now I haven't played either of these two games, so I'm just putting this in here just for historical context. Today I'm really focusing on Model Debut 3, which has an American release for the Nintendo Switch. And since I've already played it, I want to tell you guys about it. While I am studying Japanese currently, that is what I'm in class for, I don't know if I'm strong enough to really play these games, although I do plan on making a Japanese game series in the near future. So if this is one of the games that you guys want me to check out and possibly play, leave me a comment down below and then maybe we can come back to these model debut games and we can really make a full-fledged opinion on what we think about the whole model debut series. But now you guys know a little bit about the game and the reason why you might not have heard about the game being that it was exclusive in Japan. Now before I move on to Model Debut 3, I will say both of these games look amazing. I feel like this is definitely something I would have loved to play, and even play now, because they just have so much character. Everybody looks like they have so much charm to it. I love the fashion, I love their little faces, they all just look so cute, and I definitely think that if I'm able to play these in the near future, I'm definitely going to try to pick them up. Now, do I think it looks better than Style Savvy? That's a tricky one because they are two different games and two different stories with that. I think if you're a person who likes to put yourself in the spotlight, as in like you want to be a fashion star, I think something like Model Debut would be really awesome for American viewers, as opposed to something like Style Savvy, whereas I feel like you're a little bit more on the sidelines, like you like to design more, a little more on the creative end. But I personally am a person who likes spotlight. I like little stardom, things like this, so I definitely can see myself really falling in love with some of those older games. So I'm really happy that I'm finally able to try out Model Debut 3 and kind of give my thoughts on it after playing it a bit. Alright, so enough with the historical context stuff, let's just get into Model Debut 3, what I thought about the game, my gripes with it, and compare it a little bit to the Style Savvy series and a little bit to Fashion Dreamer, in hope that maybe you will try this game out for yourself.
Coming to Nintendo Switch! Everyone's dream is to walk the Nicola show and to be the #1 top Nicola model, working style, and have lots of encounters.
I'm sorry, she really caught me off guard there with the lots of encounters. What is this, a Pokemon battle? You guys heard it here first, this is Model Debut 3. So for a little bit of context, this game actually released last year in 2023 as Model Debut 3, but only in Japan. Then in October of 2024, this actually released in Europe with an English release. And then last but not least, it released in America with an English release as well in October of 2024. So this is actually like a franchise of Nicola games. I believe it's Nicola Kanchu. There are all of these fashion games, which I just had talked about. So apparently Nicola is the popular Japanese fashion magazine, which you are going to be working for their brand. Nintendo says it's a popular magazine for middle schoolers, but I hope that's not the case, because I mean there is romance in this game, and I don't know, it doesn't say how old the character is, but I'm hoping she's not in middle school, but I mean I could be wrong. So the game starts off with telling the player that they passed their model audition for Nicola, but you're not affiliated with the agency, so you just kind of start off with just customizing your character however you want them to be. Now I love having the ability to customize my character however I want. Telling you in my gameplay of this is a second gameplay I was doing of it. In my gameplay I was spending a lot of time making my character super cutesy and changing the eyes. There's so many outfits you can choose from. I love having that many features, especially for someone who just loves looking at so many different fashion types. That was really awesome, but my one little gripe about the customization is the lack of skin tones. That really upset me, not being able to see as many skin tones in this. Now, I'm not sure if this game was supposed to be coming to America and Europe, but I feel like if they were going to, one thing that would have been nice would be skin tones. Like, this is the darkest shade that they had, so I made my character this, but like, it's just tan, y'all. We know it's just tan. It gave me the same sort of pain like when I played Animal Crossing New Leaf and knew that you could only be dark skin tone if you tan outside for a long period of time. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm just gonna have to play this game in the summer only so I could be the skin color I wanted, you know, like, just kind of upsetting to see, you know, like there's people outside of Japan that have darker skin tones that would like to be represented, okay? And I get it, like, I know this game was released exclusively for Japan for the most part, but being that it might be kind of popular over here, you know, that is something I wish I would have seen in this. I also wish you could change your gender in this game. I know you can't do it necessarily in the Style Savvy games, but being that they did add boys in some of the later games, that would have also been a nice touch. But I don't know, I guess like Japan is catering this towards girls, but I don't know, like being that, you know, this game is going to America and Europe, that would have, you know, also been nice to see. Honestly, really disappointing to hear, but, you know, moving on with the game, you meet this guy Reigo who says that your character looks exactly like what he needs to shoot his music video. So you decide to say yes to shooting the video with him, and he decides to put you in his song, which is where you're able to enter your attributes and things about your character. Now, I thought this part was actually kind of cool, being able to put your surname and your name and birthday and stuff. Now, I don't know why they need to know your blood type. I don't know if that's like something I just haven't got to, but you know, you're able to put in your personality trait, I suppose, and everything else. But after that, you continue on with shooting the music video, and then you head home for the rest of your day. I gotta just add in here, I do kind of love the little options for dialogue here. I know they're also in other games as well, but I just think it's really cute. It adds like a little personal touch. Makes me feel more involved, you know? I actually really like some of the dialogue options in Style Savvy Fashion Forward. I felt like they gave you a lot of them. And to me, I don't know, I just think it's kind of cool to be able to respond as if you were having a conversation with these people. But afterwards, you get a call a couple days later about the guy who you made the music video with, and then you get called into their agency who offers you a job, which is pretty awesome. As a person who does acting on the side of doing YouTube and like just being sad, I wish it was this easy. So you meet with Nagisa, who is offering you a scout offer to help with your modeling career. Now, I don't think I mentioned this earlier, but Nicola is an actual modeling agency in Japan, which is why they have the title for it. It is actually a really popular fashion magazine in Japan. So I guess the game is kind of all based around the magazine. I guess a lot of teen girls read this and want to be part of the agency. So I guess this game kind of like fulfills those dreams in a way. So you decide to do your first portrait shoot, so you have some photos for your portfolio. Now, this is kind of where the main point of the gameplay kind of comes in. You get booked for these like auditions and these like TV shoots and these modeling shoots, so you have to use these different poses and you can choose different frames and stuff. Overall, I did like this a little bit. I think it gets a bit repetitive because, to be honest, I honestly don't really care on what the photo looks like, and I think this is just more of a personal thing. Like, I obviously want the photo to look good, but I mean, like, the most I really did for the amount of like customization for a lot of these shoots that you have to do, I kind of just pick a pose I like and call it a day, maybe change a background or two, but getting to all the technical stuff is why I do YouTube, not to do in my free time. So that's just me though. If you like it, hey, don't let me yuck your yum. After you finish with making your portrait, they offer you to go to the Nicola editorial department so you can actually start working your first day of the job. Now, the one thing they don't tell you about working the job is that you're actually going to be working for the magazine, not only as a model, but as an editor of the magazine as well. So I was like, well, dang, I guess you can't pay all the bills with just being a model. So you're going to also be, you know, running the pages of the model magazine as well. So, you know, that's something. So I get a whole communication degree to just play games of what I could be doing for a job. really makes me feel great. So the game is kind of structured in weeks where 1 week you're working, 1 week you're off. And the weeks that you're working, you're going to be doing sort of article shoots based off of what is needed for the magazine. So they might tell you what to create based off of like needing different outfits for different shoots, and you can just change it however you want, and then you get photos for the magazine and you post it for social media. Depending on how you do, that makes your model rank go up. And that's kind of the workflow of how the game sort of works. Now I will say I don't think this is as fun as playing something like Style Savvy, where you feel like you're working with customers and you have to build them an outfit and you get that instant sort of gratification on how they feel, versus with this you do a photo shoot and you get kind of like a social media feedback, which is why I really got to compare it to Fashion Dreamer, which emphasized using social media. But that's kind of how your first day of the game goes. After that, you learn that the storyline of the game is really to become a top model. So you gotta keep increasing your model rank before the biggest show happens. You get 3 in-game years to achieve the goal. Each day, I want to say, takes maybe 15-ish minutes to finish, and that's just if you're playing it leisurely or you're just trying to hardcore go through this. So I'd say you get about 25 to 30 hours out of the game completely. For a complete completionist, I'd say it takes maybe 40 hours or more. Aside from just raising your model rank, you'll also be able to do sort of friendship events, romance events. I haven't really done any of the romance stuff, so I can't really speak too much on it. I think in the game you can only really date guys. I don't know how fulfilling that is, but from what I looked online, I think it's just to help you with your style rank to romance. So I mean, there's that, but for the most part, you're focusing on your modeling career, so you get opportunities to make friends and post pictures with them on top of like little side events here and there as well. Now let's get into my actual thoughts about this game and whether I think it's worth your play, worth your buy, things like that. Now, starting off with some of the positives about this game, I like how it feels like a Style Savvy game. Is it a Style Savvy game? No, but I like the interactions with the characters. I like the fun little cutscenes. I like being able to customize my character. I love the graphics. There's so many cute, fun, lighthearted games. It makes me feel like I'm playing an old DS game that has been ported to the Switch. I also like that the story is a bit refreshing. It does feel very realistic in a sense of like, hey, if your dreams are to be a model, this might be a good little idea for you to, play a game, learn how you do brand collaborations, doing photo shoots, and, picking the poses for your model, things like that. Those are all really cutesy things that honestly, even if I were a bit younger playing this game, I think I could see myself really falling in love with this. Being older now, I feel like I don't have the same sort of like love to be like a model and do all of this and that, but I will say I am finding some enjoyment in kind of reliving my childhood dreams of doing these sort of like fashionista type events. I also think it's so good to finally see something like this for the Switch. Now, granted, if you have another recommendation of like a girly type fashionista game that you think I should check out, please leave me a comment. Like literally, I had found this game from that comment, and still shout out to them because that is so awesome that I was able to actually find this and play this. Really loved that, but I really love seeing stuff like this for the Switch, finally. And it's crazy because I know the Switch 2 is probably going to be coming out very soon, but being able to finally see some of these girly type, fashionista styling games come to the Switch finally is something that I think a lot of us have been waiting for. I think sometimes for me, the real question is it too late? Because I think about if I were younger and I was playing this on the DS, I would have loved this. Versus now, seeing it on the Switch, I feel like it might just be the fact that I'm a bit older now and I don't have the same love that I did before. But I don't know, I say that and I say to myself, if there were a Style Savvy for the Switch, I would love it. But would I only love it because it's a Style Savvy game, or would I love it because I'm genuinely excited about the game? So I mean, that's just more of a personal thing. I think it really depends on how you like playing your games. But overall, stylistically, I do like how this game looks and I like how this game plays. It looks good, it's smooth, it's really cutesy, and it's basically what I had thought Fashion Dreamer was gonna kind of be like, and it really wasn't. Ugh, I don't want to get into Fashion Dreamer again, guys. I'm traumatized. Now moving on to some of the negatives that I thought about the game. Now I will say this game gets repetitive, and I mean gets repetitive fast. Now I don't think it gets repetitive in the way I had played Fashion Dreamer, where I felt like I was circling in the same space for hours on end, but it does get repetitive in the sense that you're not really doing too much. It doesn't really give me the same sense of fulfillment that I felt in Style Savvy for a couple reasons, actually. In Style Savvy, you are growing a boutique. You know, not only are you getting instant gratification from customers, you are also preparing for fashion shows. You know, I think it gives me a little more sense of purpose because you're unlocking new areas, you know, you're trying to make the boutique your own depending on, you know, which game you're playing. But in this game, I don't feel that same sort of sense of fulfillment. Now, you know, obviously you want to grow your rank. You go to the gym, you know, you hang out with your friends, but I think this game lacks character development and storyline depth. Like, I think it's one thing to say like, oh my gosh, I grew my model rank from bottom to top, versus saying I started at working for someone in a boutique to running my own boutique. You know, it just feels like there's a little bit more depth and growth in that, as opposed to I was a model before and I'm still a model. You know, it would have been different if maybe you weren't a model and you had to work to become one. So you were doing these photo shoots to grow your rank to become a model, versus like I'm just a model, just maybe like not that good of one. And there is romance and things in this games, and while I haven't really gotten to those things yet, from what I've seen of it, it's not really a big focus of the game. So in my eyes, I'm like, why even put it in the game? Or like, what is the point of dating in the game? You know, I think that's another aspect where like they could really expand on the story of this, you know, make it really feel like this is somebody's own career that they're going through. I feel like there is a lot of things that this game lacks. I just don't know if they're as bad as Fashion Dreamer. I wouldn't say that this is the most put together perfect game, and I don't know if it's gonna satisfy all your needs for wanting a new Style Savvy game. And trust me guys, I'm crossing my fingers too, and hopefully we do get one. But I will say it does have a lot of charm to it. I'll also say this, if you are a person who did like Fashion Dreamer, I would highly recommend this, because I can really feel like the people who did like Fashion Dreamer would like a game like this, because I feel like stylistically it is pretty similar. You know, you make your character, there is some elements of like social media in it, and it has a story, so I feel like it would be a lot more fulfilling for people who enjoyed the Fashion Dreamer game. But I feel like for people who didn't enjoy Fashion Dreamer then played this game, I think you would also still enjoy it, but not to the extent that you wish you would enjoy it. I feel like for me, this kind of just scratched my itch of like wanting to have something similar to Style Savvy that actually gave me more of the feel of it, versus playing something like Fashion Dreamer, which I felt completely missed the mark. Now, I know I keep comparing these games that are similar to Style Savvy, and I think that's just because Style Savvy was like the first fashion game that I really picked up when I was younger. So getting older, I feel like every game is like a supposed copy of Style Savvy, but I do think there are a lot of elements that make me think of a Style Savvy game when looking at this. Stylistically appealing, the storyline's a bit similar, going into the fashion industry, and this isn't the only game like that. There's plenty of other games that are out here that are either a knockoff or like a first version of Style Savvy. You know what I mean? There's a lot of games that do this thing. It's just how many games can do it right, like Style Savvy. And I think that's why I hold it to such a high standard, because to me that just is a game that I, one, have so much nostalgia for, and two, a game that I just really, really loved. And seeing that these other games are getting close to getting what we want for the Nintendo Switch, I'm just hoping that when the Switch 2 does come out, we will have a game that will actually give us that fulfillment of Style Savvy, or hopefully we just get a Style Savvy game. In my opinion, I think this game is a lot better than Fashion Dreamer. You guys already know, like, in my opinion, I think this game is a lot better than Fashion Dreamer, but I don't think this game is better than Style Savvy, unfortunately speaking. I think it will scratch an itch. I think it will provide you with some sort of fulfillment for a short amount of time, but I don't think it's gonna necessarily fill the void of what we want it to be, a Nintendo Switch style savvy game, unfortunately speaking. I think in terms of comparing this game to Fashion Dreamer, it just gives me a lot of things that I wish that game had. Like in this game, you are able to connect with the characters more, you are able to unlock new things, you have more of a goal in terms of what you're striving for. Is it repetitive? Yes. Is it the most exciting thing to do? No. So I don't think I can say it's like the best game compared to Fashion Dreamer, but I will say it is better to an extent. It's not the best game in the world, it's not style savvy, but I do think this game holds a little bit more charm, and I think I'm going to continue playing it. I'm also saying this as an American who is playing Model Debut 3 for the first time. You know, I didn't get a chance to play Model Debut 1. I didn't get a chance to play Model Debut 2, as they weren't released here in America. So I feel like a person who had played the other games might have a different experience than I would, might have more to say about the context of the other games than I do. But I will say, being that this is the first game I did play out of their series that they have, I really enjoyed it. Now, I do read the comments, so please, if you have played all of the games on top of playing Style Savvy, leave me a comment or like some feedback about what you had thought about all 3 games. I think for myself, being that, you know, I am a person who played the Style Savvy series, and I'm just kind of comparing it to what I had played in Model Debut 3. I can't necessarily say I love Model Debut 3 better than it. You know, I like the idea that we are talking about some real context in life situation stuff, doing model work, being on TV, doing stuff for magazines, building the rank, and having these cute little school settings and things like that. But I don't know if it necessarily makes me feel more fulfilled than if I just ran my own boutique. And, you know, I could just be speaking just because I already have the love and nostalgia for Style Savvy. And, you know, if that's the case, I gotta say I'm a little biased, but, you know, I'm just giving you guys my opinion, and you are welcome to make your own on what you think about both of the games. But overall, wrapping this up, I will say that I don't think Model Debut 3 is a bad game. I actually kind of liked a lot about this game. I definitely think this is a little more on the relaxing side, a little more cozier. I don't think this is something that you're going to want to play in a rush, you know, kind of just something to do, similar to Fashion Dreamer in this instance. I think it just really depends on the type of gameplay you like to do. And, you know, after having had played this, I'm starting to see a little bit more charm in Fashion Dreamer, to be honest, because the amount of times I just sat around playing Model Debut 3, I started thinking about the times when people are probably sitting around Fashion Dreamer doing probably the same stuff, you know, just making characters and doing little fashion shoots. And I really just think it's about what you really enjoy of your games. The way I feel about Fashion Dreamer, I can definitely see someone feeling a similar way about Model Debut 3. The game isn't the most exciting thing in the world. I'm not even gonna hold you guys. Like, this game isn't like the best, most amazing game I've ever played. It's a good game, but I can easily see people getting bored of it. I can easily see myself getting bored of it. Similarly, how I felt about Fashion Dreamer and just felt easily unenticed, I feel like some people might feel that way about this game. So that's just me being real with you about how I think Model Debut 3 is. I don't think it's for everyone, but I do think, personally speaking, I enjoyed it. I think the characters looked good, the visualization is good, it has enough of a storyline to keep me engaged, to want to keep playing the game, and I think it's just very cutesy. I think it's something that if you like cozy little fashion games, this could be fun for you. But on another hand, I also think it could be something that you might not want to get full price. The game, I believe, is running for $40 on the Nintendo eShop, so I mean, hey, right now, when this game releases, it's right before Black Friday, so you know, hey, might be something you might want to pick up, Christmas gift even. I definitely say this is one of those games where you really gotta decide if you want to pay full price for something like this. $40, I definitely think it is worth it. That is how much I paid for it. If it were other Nintendo prices, like those $60 games, I would have to say it's a no for me. Being that Fashion Dreamer was $60 and this came out for $40, I definitely think you'd be getting more of your money's worth in this game over Fashion Dreamer, considering I just can't get back into it, guys. I really try sometimes. I try to log in and do some stuff and I find myself easily getting bored. In this game, I come in, there's a task ready for me, and I gotta do it. It's just, I'm a very goal-oriented person, so I feel like that is one of the reasons that I really like this game. But let me not ramble on too much. Those are kind of my final thoughts on Model Debut 3. Leave me comments if you think similarly, have different opinions on it. Love seeing all the feedback. You guys are literally so awesome and super sweet, and I love each and every single one of y'all. And yeah, let's wrap this up over here. But anyway, those are my thoughts. I really thought we weren't going to talk about Fashion Dreamer again, guys. Trust me, I thought it was going to be the end, but you know I had to do it, okay? But I'm glad we've talked about it a little bit. Let me know down in the comments below if you like Model Debut, if you're gonna buy it for yourself. I got a lot more game reviews in the vaults, y'all. It just takes me so long to edit these videos, so I apologize for how slow these are coming out, but I'm gonna try to pick up the pace here. I'm really gonna be focusing on YouTube very, very soon, so just bear with me. Thank you so much for watching today's video. If you liked it, like this video and comment and subscribe, all the good jazz, and I really hope to see you in my next video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you very soon. Bye!